हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone for our today's session of the six opulences of Krishna. So, yesterday we heard from three speakers on the topic of beauty, strength and wisdom. Strength and wisdom. Wealth. So now today we are very fortunate because we have with us a very esteemed, distinguished guest to speak upon the left opulences of the Lord. So let me introduce to you our very esteemed guest. His grace Achut Mohan Prabhuji. Haribo. So let us all welcome Prabhuji by loudly chanting one time. Haribo. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I'll be just showing Prabhuji's intro to all of you. So I'm sharing with all of you this screen. So Prabhuji is currently serving as the as the president of ISKCON Varanasi and ISKCON Prayagraj. Prabhuji is a board member of IIAC, which is the ISKCON's advisory board. And Prabhuji is a chemical engineer from NIT Surathkal. He worked with Oracle Corporations in Bangalore and was a gold medalist in 2001 National Maths Olympiad all over India. Prabhuji completed spiritual courses like Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav. And currently Prabhuji is also mentoring youths and serving as a trainer and educator for the corporates and various other students. And Prabhuji pioneered mega youth event, which is Impressions in Eastern UP zone. Also conducts scriptural courses for students of several premier institutions of India, like IIMs and IITs. And Prabhuji conducts scriptural courses. Okay, the same thing. So these are some of Prabhuji's qualification. So we are very fortunate to have with us Prabhuji. So let us hear today from Prabhuji on the six opulences of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Over to you. Yes.
Thank you, Vaibhav. And I also thank my spiritual master and also my spiritual mentors, especially His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, for giving me devotional service and allowing me to practice devotional service in the association of devotees. So whatever little good we have received is by their grace and by the blessings of His Divine Wish, Prabhupada. So it gives me immense joy to be able to have an opportunity today to share with all of you. Just 1 minute. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to discuss about the opulence of Krishna called fame. So this is one of those six opulences which very much defines the Supreme Lord as Bhagavan. So I'll share with you a small PPT. We'll begin with the prayers first. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Padamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratushe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So I hope you are able to see on your screen the PPT.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Fame of Sri Krishna. So see, Krishna is so famous that atheists as well as atheists, they both talk about it. Right? God is the only person who's talked about the most, even by those, especially by those who don't believe in it. So you see here on your screen, there is something. What comes to your mind when you see this? This is a pot filled with, earthen pot filled with butter. Krishna. In India, anybody can tell you Krishna directly. They'll remember Makhan Chor. Right? As soon as you see a peacock feather, what comes to your mind? Krishna. Right? And as soon as you see a flute, what comes to your mind? Krishna. In fact, anywhere they want to symbolize a celebration of Janmashtami, they just put a flute, they just put a peacock feather. That's sufficient. Right? Here is Michael Jackson. This guy is so famous. Now he had a world tour, a historical world tour. I think he did 83 concerts during a single tour. Like he left from his home country and then he returned back to his home country. And in those 13 to 15 months, when he toured the entire planet, he did 83 large concerts. Okay. One of them was in Mumbai, India. This was in 96-97. And how many people gathered for it? Paid tickets? Now the data says 35,000, but the people say 70,000. Whatever it is. But you know what? This is Kumbh Mela on your right side. And in right side Kumbh Mela, this is just a small screenshot of one of the hours of one of the days of one of the parts of Kumbh Mela in Prayag. And how many people gather for it? Practically 2 to 3 crores without any advertisement. They don't have to pay any tickets. In fact, free facilities are arranged for them by the government, by so many other institutions. So having to pay a ticket with so much of advertisement, only 35,000 people or 70,000 people gather for Michael Jackson. With so much of propaganda, right? And now he's not there anymore. But for Krishna, even in the age of Kali Yuga, which is considered like the backbencher Yuga as far as God consciousness is concerned, look at the masses. See this is India. And this is the path which was taken by Lord Ram, okay, from Ayodhya to Lanka and then back to Ayodhya. All these places are still filled with the temples of the Lord, right? Everywhere you go, you'll find some temple of Lord Ram. Similarly, these are the places of the temples, of the major temples of Lord Krishna in different forms. Of course, there are many more than this. I've just taken a picture where some of them are mentioned. So if you go to Rajasthan, you have Govind Dev, okay, you have Srinath Ji, Nathadwara. If you go to Gujarat, you have Dwarkadhish, and you have many other forms of Krishna there, Gopal Ji, Nath Ji. You go to Maharashtra, there is Panduranga, okay, there is Vitthal, Lord standing on the eat. And if you go south, then there is Ranganath Swami, sleeping Lord in Tamil Nadu. In Andhra Pradesh, there is this Balaji, Lord Srinivas Venkateshwar. If you go to Karnataka, there is Udupi Krishna. If you go to Kerala, there is Ananta Padmanabh Swami. And on the borders of Kerala and Tamil Nadu is Lord Adikeshav. So then you come to Odisha, you have the famous Jagannath, right? And you have so many other temples of the Lord there. Then you have Sakshi Gopal, you have Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu in Bengal. And then as you come towards UP and Bihar, you have Vrindavan and you have Ayodhya, you have so many temples. Right? Then you go up in the north, so you have Parthasarathi and you have Krishna in the Kurukshetra, right? So everywhere you find Lord has established his temples. Lord has come in different forms. In fact, even Lord's temple is there in the form, in the name as Ranachod. The person who left the battle. The person who leaves the battlefield, flees from it, is generally not glorified. But Krishna is glorified even as Ranachod Rai. Here is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's picture, and in this map you find that there are temples all around, famous temples, right? So Krishna is so amazing, so amazing. One time Srila Prabhupada was telling to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, look at our Krishna. Somebody grows some fruits and nuts in one country. He brings it to another country, to other devotees, where they have some flour and some wheat flour and some sugar and all. So they take all the ingredients to yet another country, and there a group of devotees prepare cookies, very nice cookies. Then a devotee of yet another fourth country is visiting India, so he carries it to India in Vrindavan, and those cookies and many other items from many other countries are offered on Janmashtami day to Krishna in Vrindavan. And then Mahaprasad of that is sent to Prabhupada in America, and Prabhupada is eating that. So Prabhupada was asking Tamal Krishna Maharaj, do you think even the President of America gets to eat like this? No, he does not. Prabhupada used to say that, see, our Pandit Nehru, so he had got some servants from Britain and America and all, like some 1 or 2 servants. So they were serving him with a lot of high salary. But Prabhupada said, my disciples, they are serving me and they are paying me also, the donation for Krishna's service. And they are from so many different countries. Just see. So Krishna is much more famous than anyone else. And he has been famous for ages. You find there are verses in Srimad Bhagavatam which are describing the pastimes happened in Satyayuga. Now, today when you read history, so Gandhiji or Napoleon or Alexander, even Hitler, they are simply some 1 or 2 lines or a summary of 1 page or 2 pages. That's what they are in our history books, right? But Krishna has been glorified since ages, since yugas. So there is a verse which even glorifies Krishna, that Krishna was worshipped and served even by the greatest of the kings, like King Amrish Maharaj, even in Satyayuga. Here you find Krishna is famous as Devaki Nandana, Vasudeva. Now Janmashtami is coming. So you see, Krishna is so famous that with every activity he does, with every pastime he does, with every relationship he has got a name associated with it. Like Devaki Nandana. Devaki Nandana is his name connected to being the son of the mother Devaki. Okay. Lord Vasudeva. Lord Vasudeva is the son of Vasudeva. So even today, in so many places that Makhanchor Leela is performed, isn't it? And many of the places Janmashtami decorations are exhibited, where Vasudeva is carrying Krishna across the Yamuna to Vrindavan, right? Here you find Krishna is famous as Yashodanandan, Nandanandan. So he is carrying the chappals of his father, Nanda Maharaj. And Yashoda Maya is filled with ecstasy looking at this sweet boy Krishna. For them, Krishna was not God. And yet, even when Krishna left from Vrindavan, all that Vrindavan Vasis could do was remember Krishna. Nothing else. When the gopis would go to the marketplaces between Vrindavan and Mathura, and they would put their pots of butter and pots of milk and curd and buttermilk to do the barter exchange with the other people in those areas, like basically to sell them off, because these were the cowherd communities. They grew some things in their fields and they had the cow products. So that's what they were trading. And when they would go, so there were these Yagya Padmis, they were the wives of the Brahmanas living in a village on the outskirts of Vrindavan before the Mathura. So they would actually come over to that place where in that hut these gopis would be selling these. And they would try to bargain with them. okay, show me that, show me this. And none of these gopis would be interested to even talk. Why? Because they were so busy talking about Krishna, singing about Krishna. They would talk to each other, like they would talk. Yashomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Paranadhana Madana Manohara. So they would remind each other of Krishna. In fact, these Yajna Patnis, initially they would go to buy the things when they needed, but eventually they simply started going there to take association of these gopis, because these gopis were filled with love for Krishna. And therefore, these Yajna Patnis, simply in the name of buying something, they would go there. They didn't need things. They wanted to simply hear the love expressed by the words of the gopis in the form of those songs. They wanted to see their exchanges. That's how famous Krishna is. He steals the heart of anyone. In this world, in the history of this world, nobody has stolen somebody's heart as much as Krishna has stolen the heart of even one of his devotees. And therefore, he's famous as Vrindavan Network. You see, people want to become like they have. India's got talent, America's got talent. In our times, there was one show called Boogie Woogie. So everybody used to come there to dance. So they want to become dance icon of India and this and that. So they want to become like nowadays Olympics. So they want to become gold medalist in Olympics, right? Like the recent guy who threw some javelin, and so very nice, very good. But then look at Krishna. What does he want to become? Vrindavan and Natwara, which means the best dancer of Vrindavan. Krishna is famous all over the world. And look at the dance he can perform. He's dancing on the hoods of Kalia. See, actually, any sportsman or musician or cook, whenever they want to perform their arts, or anybody who's a painter, anybody who's a good singer, they generally look for good instruments. A good cook will look for good kitchen, good ingredients. A good dancer will say, I need very good lighting, very good this, very good that, very good music, very good floor. A sportsman, like I used to play badminton. So we used to always talk about the court. The court has to be, it has to be a synthetic court, and the racket has to be like this. The shuttlecock has to be like this and that. My God, so many specifics. But here is Krishna. The platform on which he was dancing was moving, constantly moving, and it was slippery. And in fact, there were 1,000 platforms. They were changing again and again, and they were filled with poison. They were bringing out the fire from here and there. That was a platform, and Krishna was dancing. One time his Radheshyam was explaining, like that Krishna was dancing. That's how you get all the traditional dances in India. Kathakali, Kuchipudi, Bharatanatyam, and all this. They are simply enacting Krishna's various pastimes. So unfortunately, modern people don't even remember all the pastimes of Krishna. But traditionally, that's what the arts of Indian culture were all about, remembering Krishna. Okay, through dance, music, drama, theatrics, anything. Then you have Krishna's Parthasarthi. Krishna spoke knowledge. I'm sure yesterday you must have heard. Today you'll be hearing about the opulence of knowledge. Krishna spoke for around 45 minutes, okay, spontaneously. But even today, 5,000 years down the line, Bhagavad Gita is the most well-read book. Bhagavad Gita is the most distributed book in the entire world. 52 crore Gitas have been distributed simply of Srila Prabhupada himself by his loving disciples and followers. And those 45 minutes of words, we take our lifetimes to understand, right? That's how famous Krishna is. Then Makhan Chor. Makhan Chor Murari Radhe Sham 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 is so famous. In fact, Krishna has probably made butter famous because of butter's association with him. So one time all the peacocks, they were so happy in Vrindavan that they were dancing. So Krishna looked at them. Krishna felt that they are dancing for my pleasure, which they were. So Krishna thought, I also want to please them. So Krishna also started dancing. He started imitating them. So there's a dance in one place in Govardhan of Radharani and Krishna. They are also dancing like she peacock and he peacock. And then the peacocks were so happy to see Krishna dancing like this. So then they also started dancing more and better for Krishna's pleasure. Krishna started dancing more and better. So then eventually they were so happy that the leader of the peacocks came forward. He said, I don't know what to give to you, Krishna. What do we have? But people say that the best thing we have is our feathers. They are very beautiful. So we want to give you one nice feather, peacock feather. So he came ahead and gave. And then Krishna said, oh, this is out of love. This is from heart. This is with the spirit of selfless service. So this is more special than anything else. So to respect and appreciate and celebrate your love for me, I will always put this peacock feather on the top of my head forever, so that the entire world remembers you when they remember me. This is Krishna. Who can be a lover like Krishna? Krishna came in our heart as Paramatma. I mean, I remember when I was a small child, my mother would accompany me anywhere practically, even in the toilet and bathroom. Like she would bathe me and she would everything, she would feed me, whatever. As far as I remember my childhood in the earliest years. But eventually, at one point of time, my mother had limitations. She couldn't. And she definitely couldn't understand my heart every time, right? The mother is the closest person we can have in this world, but great limitations to that. But look at Krishna. He comes in the form of Paramatma in everyone's heart. So he's there with everyone. So he's such a lover that there is no lover like him. And see, therefore he performed pastime like Ranachod. So 17 times he had defeated this guy Jarasandha with big, big armies. And he came once again. Look at the daring. And the entire world is going to call Krishna a person who left the battlefield, who flee from the battlefield. But Krishna was ready to take that blame because he got a love letter from Rukmini. So Rukmini, love letter means bhakti letter, you can say. So Rukmini wrote the original love letter to Krishna, and she wrote that, please, I feel like I'm like a lamb and I'm amidst these jackals, and you are like a lion, and I actually belong to you. So you please kidnap me from here and make me your wife, make me your servant. I want to love you. In fact, my heart is already given out to you because I heard about you from Narada Muni. Krishna is so beautiful and so attractive. Even if we associate with a devotee of Krishna who has love for Krishna, we get totally attracted to Krishna. So Krishna went as a Ranachod rag to Rukmini. Ranachod, person who left the battlefield. So in Dakor in Gujarat, near Vadodara, there is a famous temple of Ranachod, and so many people flock that temple. Similarly, Krishna is famous as Muralidhara. He's simply playing flute, but he's so famous. Actually, whatever Krishna does, he's so sweet. Madhuram, Madhuram. His Geetam Madhuram, his Chalitam Madhuram, his Hasitam Madhuram. Everything about him is Madhuram. In fact, when he sleeps, like Lord Ranganath is sleeping there in Tamil Nadu, in Sri Rangam. See, when we sleep, or even when we are awake, all dirty substances come out from our body, right? But when Krishna is taking rest, the entire world is coming to take his darshan. Who can be more famous than that? Isn't it? And Krishna is Rathanga Pani. So his devotees had taken some vows, Bhishma Dev and Arjun. But Krishna was caught between their vows. Krishna had also taken a vow, which was to not lift weapon ever in that battle. But Krishna said, to hell with my vow, because I don't want to break the words and the vows of my devotees, not in front of this world. So Krishna himself lifted the weapon. A person who can arrange and rearrange any situations to bring out the best surrendered to the will of his devotees. And he became famous as Rathanga Pani. As Lord Damodar, he actually became famous as Bhratya Vatsala Krishna, a person who surrenders to the love of his devotee. In this case, Yashoda Maya, because Yashoda Maya was she wanted to tie Krishna. How can you tie Krishna? It's too much actually. But Krishna was happy to be tied. So he surrendered as a humble servant of simply a jiva. Why? Out of love. So because of his character, because of his activities, which are not always straight, but he's most famous, amazingly famous. So in fact, there are scriptures, there are books which contain only Krishna's names. That's how so many names. Anything he does, he gets a name. Nama Nama Kari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. He's got unlimited names actually. And all of them are potent with his energies. So anything Krishna does, he becomes famous. He kills Kamsa, he becomes Kamsari. He kills the demon Madhu, he becomes famous as Madhusudana. And he kills Bakasura, he's known as Bakari. He kills The demon Mura, he becomes Murari. Okay. He kills Ravana, so he becomes Ravana Nantkara. One who puts an end to Ravana. So famous actually Krishna. And here he is famous as Radhanath. This is Shri Radha Radhanath, the deities. So Radhanath means the Lord of Srimati Radhanath. Okay, like Lord Madhava, the person who gives pleasure to Srimati Radha. Okay. Gopi Jana Vallabha. He is the most auspicious lover of all the gopis. He is the maintainer of all the gopis. He is the object of pleasure of all the gopis and all the Vrindavan Vasis. Okay. He lifts Govardhan Hill. He becomes famous as Giridhari. Okay. We don't even become famous as Mobile Dhari. Krishna becomes famous as Giridhari. This is Kheerchor Gopinath. So this is in Bengal. So he stole kheer for his devotee. Okay, which devotee? Madhavendra Puri. And why did he steal? Because Madhavendra Puri wanted to eat that kheer. So Krishna said, I'll steal it, don't worry. This is ridiculous actually. This person is Supreme Personality of God. Why does he have to steal? But he stole. So actually, Krishna is just amazing. And because he's amazing, anything he does, he becomes famous. Anything. In all of our life also, he came without invitation. Probably without invitation, without any notice, right? And pretty soon he has become quite famous in our lives also, isn't it? So he's so famous anywhere. This is Ranganath Swami, the sleeping Lord. Even his temple is famous because this temple is one of the most giant structures ever created on mankind. In fact, let me tell you that you know that Leaning Tower of Pisa. That's not the these Western people are very famous. Let's give it to them. They're very famous at marketing whatever they have. But actually, in Indian culture, we have much bigger and better wonders than them in every field, whether it's architecture or whether it's town planning or whether it's farming or cooking or anything. But the only thing is we're not so much into marketing, like that. So here you see Lord Srinivas, Lord Venkateshwara Balaji, so famous, literally. There is nobody in South India who doesn't visit at least once. Then you have Bhagavad Gita, the song of God, all famous, and which has won the hearts of so many people. East or West, Krishna is the best everywhere. So, especially Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. So, Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada took Krishna everywhere. There are countries where there are no Indian software engineers or the companies having all those Indians working hard for them. But in those countries also there are Krishna temples. There is Bhagavad Gita. There is celebration of Janmashtami. There is everybody knows Hare Krishna. So this is how famous Krishna is. Therefore, Mother Rukmini, she wrote to Krishna. And let's conclude with this one. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. This verse was originally the message of Mother Rukmini, which she gave in a letter to this Brahmana who delivered it to Krishna. Shrutva gunan bhavana sundara shanvatam te nirvishya karna vivare harato gatapam rupam drisham drishimatam akhilartha labham tvayachyuta vishati chittam. Agree also. what is this? We are the best devotees of Krishna. We are the best lovers of Krishna. How is it that Krishna is always talking about Vrindavan, Vrindavan? These Vrindavan Vasis are useless. So let us prove to Krishna that we are his best people. We are his best lovers. We are his best devotees. We are the best. But how to do this? So then they were from Dwarka. So they had to think of something big, as per their status. So they thought of performing a huge yajna, huge, like the one which the world has never seen and will never ever see also. And yes, that's true. They actually did that. So they organized, they planned. Now this was going to be a huge event. So crores of people were going to be involved into this, and the resources, my dear Lord, not even in Ashwamedh Yajna has any close resources to what they were planning. So Padmavati, organized and single-handedly, she actually mobilized all the people and made the teams and made the departments, and she made sure that this news should not be going to Krishna. It was supposed to be a surprise for Krishna, and she wanted every important person in the world to be there to see when Krishna accepts this fact that yes, these people love me the most. Look at what they've done for me. So she had to send invitations, right? In advance. So she called for Narada Muni, the famous spaceman, and Narada Muni came. So, and when Narada Muni comes, there is going to be some twist. So she said to Narada Muni, Narada, we are going to do this huge festival, this biggest yajna, ever, to please Krishna and to prove to him that we are his best devotees. So you are supposed to be our agent and our representative, and you are supposed to invite every important person and kings and leaders from the entire universe. And here are the invitations, go out and spread everywhere. And nobody should be left. Go to every kingdom, go to every province, go to every palace, go to every important person and invite them. And they should be here. But, a huge but, you should not go to Vrindavan and you should not be inviting Vrindavan Vasis at any cost. If I ever hear that you have invited Vrindavan Vasis like Nanda, Yashoda, anybody from Vrindavan, then it's going to be between you and me, and I'm going to thrash you. So Narada was like, okay, I'll not invite any Vrindavan. So she repeated her instructions, like it's repeated, that 3 times. There is no other way, no other way, no other way. Only the chanting of the holy name, holy name, holy name of Krishna. Similarly, she repeated, invite everyone, anywhere, not from Vrindavan, not from Vrindavan, nobody from Vrindavan. And he took a vow, and he went. And he went everywhere. Everywhere he was inviting everyone. He was so ecstatic. And as he was flying above Vrindavan, he thought, let us once go to Vrindavan. So he came down to Vrindavan, he was meeting all the devotees, he was talking to Nanda Maharaj, everyone gathered, how's Krishna, do you know, where is he, what is he doing right now? And then he says, actually I'm going to spread these invitations around, and this is what they're doing in Dwarka, but I'm not inviting you, I'm not at all inviting you, please remember this. So Nanda Maharaj discussing with everyone, yeah, it's natural, why should you invite us? We are Krishna's own people, we don't need invitation. घर वालों को थोड़ा ना न्योता लगता है, तो हमको आप इनविटेशन दोगे तो हम तो बाहर वाले हो जाएंगे. So then Narada Muni said, yeah, whatever that is, but I am not inviting. That is very clear. And like that he went. And while going, he again told the date and time. So to cut the long story short, we need to end now. When he reached back to Dwarka, he assured Mother Padmavati that, I am not invited Vrindavan, I am invited everyone else. And eventually, actually, all the Vrindavan also came. And while the yajna was being performed inside, and Krishna was super duper happy, very, very pleased. This person is Yajna Purusha. This person is he is Vishnu. He is very happy to accept yajnas, right? And this was the biggest yajna in his home, performed by his loving devotees. And everybody had come, and Padmavati had made special arrangement to guard from Vrindavan Vasis. But then they came and they were trying to enter, they were not allowed to enter by the guards. So they were outside, sitting outside the big walls of Dwarka palace, the entire kingdom of Dwarka, and they were crying for Krishna that we have come so far, but we are not able to meet Krishna. When Mother Yashoda cried out, Nanda Maharaj cried out, the Gopas cried out, Krishna heard, because they were the cries of love. Like devotees cry out with love, Draupadi cried out with love, Gajendra cried out with love, and Krishna heard beyond the boundaries of material realm. And this was just some little distance, and Krishna heard, and Krishna got up. And even in the middle of all the chants and all the rituals, Krishna said, to hell with all this. And Krishna ran. And Padmavati ran, and all the Pandits ran, and all the people ran, all the guards ran, everybody ran. And Krishna reached the boundaries, and Krishna said, open the gates. Padmavati said, don't open the gates. Krishna said, I am telling. And eventually they opened the gates. Krishna went out. Krishna saw Yashoda and Nanda. Krishna saw Radharani. Krishna saw all the gopis and the gopas. Krishna saw the cows. And he was like, and then they ran and embraced each other. They were bathing each other in their tears of love. And all the guests also came out. And Krishna announced in front of all of them, my best devotees are Vrindavan Vasis. So what the entire invitation and festival was for, to actually, defame the Vrindavan Vasis, it ended up actually making them famous. Of course, this is all transcendental fight. What I was trying to say is, even when people are trying to defame Krishna by putting cases against ISKCON or Hare Krishna or this or that, in Russia, this or that, but these are the very same places and very same events which make Krishna all the more famous. So thanks to Srila Prabhupada, now Krishna is famous everywhere. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Bhagwan ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for so wonderfully explaining to all of us the fame aspect of the Lord. So many wonderful stories, and we are very delighted to hear from you. And let us thank Prabhuji from the core of our heart by loudly chanting one time, Haribo. Thank you, Prabhuji. So now let us have our second speaker for today. But before that, I would just like to remind all of you who are there with us that please kindly remember to wait till our three speakers speak, because we have our award winners also to be announced. Today also we will announce, so kindly wait. Just after the third speaker, we will announce that. Okay. So now we are going to have a very wonderful, amazing, and personally one of my most favorite speakers for today, who will be telling us about the knowledge aspect. Let us welcome His Grace Vyasacharya Prabhu with us. So let me share with you Prabhuji's introduction till the time Prabhuji joins us. Okay. So yes, welcome Prabhuji. So let us welcome Prabhuji by loudly chanting one time, Haribo. Hare Krishna. So let me introduce with all of you Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, from his very childhood, is very wonderful and performed very nicely in his school days. He was amongst the toppers in 10th class and district topper in the 12th class. Then he was selected in IIT Kharagpur in computer science engineering in 2004 and was the recipient of Institute Silver Medal. And he was the department topper for all the 4 years and got the best student award as well in the department, and the second best student in the entire institute. Prabhuji went for internship in Paris, France for 3 months, and Prabhuji has been to US, United States on several occasions on critical projects. From 2004 to 2010, Prabhuji served in the senior developer at Oracle in Bangalore. And 2010 to 12, Prabhuji was in BMC Software, which is in Pune. And it was a niche group for innovation and R&D, and he got the Star Award there. Prabhuji also has passion for teaching and guiding students. Prabhuji has taught as faculty for 4 years and received the Best Teacher Award every year. Apart from this, Prabhuji is practicing Gita's teachings, Krishna consciousness for the last 2 decades. Mentor for many youths and married couples. Much appreciated for his motivational talks on personality development, lifestyle management, and leadership skills. Prabhuji has been invited to institutes like IIT Chennai, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Kanpur, NIT Surathkal, NIT Warangal, SRM, and these are some to mention. There are many more, and various esteemed colleges in Pune and corporate across the country. Currently, Prabhuji is a research scholar in computer science engineering at IIT Bombay, doing his project in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Prabhuji is working on projects of national security. So we are very happy, delighted, and fortunate to have with us Prabhuji today. Now, I would like Prabhuji to. So personally, in my life also, I have been hearing from Prabhuji from long time, and Prabhuji came to IIT Kanpur for a program, I remember. And thank you, Prabhuji, for your association. Please, now you can take.
Hare Krishna, Vaibhava Prabhu. So, can you just once confirm if you all are able to see me, you are all able to hear me, and you all are able to see the presentation as well?
Perfect, Prabhuji, perfectly. Everything.
Uh,
We are able to.
yeah, just a second. You are able to see this in the presentation mode, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Vaibhav Prabhu. Thank you very much for such a warm welcome and introduction. I am very privileged and honored to be here in this assembly amidst all these students who are attending this online Utkarsh camp. And as I was hearing His Grace Achyut Mohan Prabhu speaking, he is my very good friend, and it's always a delight to hear from him. And as I was hearing him, I was just hoping and praying that my turn should never come, because I just wanted to continue hearing how his presentation is so full of pastimes and incidences and anecdotes. It's always a delight to hear. Thank you, Achyut Mohan Prabhu, for enlightening all of us. So. The topic, which has been given to me, as you all know, since yesterday, you all are going through the 6 opulences of Krishna. So yesterday, 3 opulences were done, and today Achyut Mohan Prabhu covered the opulence of fame of Shri Krishna. So now we are going to see the 5th opulence, which is of knowledge. So, Vaibhav Prabhu, just once confirm if everything is okay, and then I'll continue now.
Prabhuji, it's completely all right. You can continue.
Okay. And I hope all of you, wherever you are, I think all participants are attending this from the comfort of their homes, respective homes. I hope wherever you all are, I hope all of you, your family members and everybody are keeping good health in these tough times. So please maintain all precautions, mask and social distancing and everything, because that's very important. Okay, so continuing with our topic for today, how Sri Krishna exhibits his 5th opulence of being all knowledgeable. So there are 2 kinds of people in this world. Rather, I would say 2 kinds of fools in this world. One kind of fools are those who think that God is an ordinary human being. And you must have heard of theories like, God created this entire creation, but it became too much for him to handle and he has run away, or God is like that, famous photo of Atlas, who is actually bearing the entire weight of Earth, Mother Earth, on his shoulders, and he is not able to bear it any longer and things like that. So there's one category of fools who think that God is like an ordinary human being. And the other category of fools are those who think ordinary human beings are God. Like, oh, you and me, we all are God, all of us are God. So keeping these 2 fools aside, rest of the world agrees and acknowledges that God is great. Right? Now, Srila Prabhupada used to often say that people know God is great, but they don't know how great God is and how he is great. Please note, these are 2 separate things. To understand how God is great and to also appreciate how great is God. Because unless we appreciate that, we continue to think that, yeah, he may be great. I'm also great. What's the big deal? I mean, he is great. I'm also great. But when we realize how great God is, and how insignificant we are, then we realize that, oh, we are actually nothing in front of God. And then naturally a soul becomes humble. Therefore, if you see pure devotees, the more self-realized one is, the more humble one becomes. Why? It is not an artificial show, of humility. Like, people like you and me, sometimes we may be very humble that, Prabhuji, I'm not qualified, please give me your mercy and things like that. Actually, in our case, it's not exactly humility, it is honesty. That's actually our fact. We are insignificant. We are good for nothing. That's the reality. We can't even breathe by our own will, what to speak of anything else, right? But the pure devotees, when they express humility, it is actually real humility, because they are seeing God face to face. They are so completely aware of God's greatness that in front of that, you just can't be anything other than being humble. So therefore, it's so important to understand how God is great. And I'm so happy that this topic is being taken about the 6 opulences of Krishna. We know this famous verse, Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya shashashriha jnana vairagyoshchaiva shannam bhaktingana. So these are the 6 opulences, which have been covered. And Achyut Mohan Prabhu just talked about fame, and he was actually also talking about Maduram Madhurabhyopi, this Akhilam Maduram, Madhura Dipate Akhilam Maduram. How he was telling how Lord Krishna is so sweet as well. So this is something very interesting which we should never forget, that how God is great and he is also sweet. We should always remember the greatness of the Lord, and we should always remember the sweetness of the Lord. So right now we are going to discuss the knowledge aspect of the greatness of the Lord, and let's dive a little deeper. So first of all, let us appreciate that, how anybody exhibiting any amount of knowledge becomes so attractive, is it not? I'm sure we all have already heard that why if one name has to be attributed to God, it has to be Krishna, because Krishna means all attractive. Sarvakarshati iti Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. Why? Because he has these 6 opulences, and these 6 opulences are, not that he exhibits 1 or 2 of them, not that he exhibits only a limited quantity of them, and not that he exhibits that only for some amount of time. No, he exhibits all 6 of them in totality, in fullness, in fact, ever increasing, and for all time, in the past, present, and future, for all of eternity. So just to get a glimpse of how knowledge attracts, you see how, we have this top left, we have Einstein. Right? How the whole world is so attracted by Einstein. In fact, like his name is synonymous to intelligence. Like, if your child is doing very well, or if some neighbor's child is doing very well, you will say, oh, he's like an Einstein, he's like Einstein. So that word has become synonymous to intelligence, because that actually naturally attracts people. Then we have Newton here, right hand side, and bottom left, we have Thomas Alva Edison, and we have so many people in the history, great scientists, great thinkers, great philosophers. It doesn't have to be scientists only, but anybody who expresses or who exhibits great knowledge, naturally becomes very, very attractive in the eyes of people. And, since I, belong to this computer science community, in fact, I'm now almost finished my PhD in deep learning, machine learning for computer vision. And if you see in computer science community, the Turing Award is supposed to be the topmost award which anybody can get, right? And anybody who gets a Turing Award, they become like God, in this world. They are like so attractive, and they'll have such big fan following, and whatever they say, even if they sometimes, let's say something nonsense, that would also become like, this person has said it, so that carries so much weight, carries so much authority. But as we can see that these people, they are knowledgeable only in a very, very narrow field of theirs, plus they were not knowledgeable when they took birth, and what to speak of before birth. And, now also after they are gone, their knowledge will be just, limited to their books. However, we know how Lord Krishna is actually supremely knowledgeable. As Achyut Mohan Prabhu said, that, Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita for about 45 minutes, 1 hour on the battlefield of Mahabharata, 700 verses. And Bhagavad Gita is till date considered to be the topmost book of knowledge, topmost source of ancient wisdom, which is revered as one of the most important ancient classics, Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Krishna, he did not have to think about it. He did not have to prepare for it as he spoke. Arjuna was confused. So Arjuna was telling, I'm confused. Please tell me what is best for me. And then Krishna started speaking spontaneously, one after the other, the topmost knowledge, which is considered to be the most confidential, topmost knowledge. So we see here a small glimpse of how Krishna is actually so knowledgeable. He did not have to prepare, for the lecture or to give a class. So let us very quickly see some interesting things. I don't know what happened to the animation here. Yeah, but whatever. So Krishna, so Rupa Goswami describes in Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, that how there are 64 qualities which are possessed by Krishna. And if you see, this 64 actually fall in various categories. The first 50 are those qualities which are possessed by actually you and me also, of course, in minute quantities. But any Jiva Tattva, any ordinary living entity can actually possess a maximum of those 50 qualities, right all the way up to Brahma, the topmost living entity. And then there are these extra 5 qualities, which are partially possessed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, specifically Lord Shiva, those 55 qualities. And then there are 5 more which are possessed by Narayan. And then there are 4 more, very, very special qualities which are possessed only by Lord Krishna, not even by Lord by one of his by his expansion Narayan. So in this list of 64 qualities, there are few qualities which actually highlight this knowledge aspect of Lord Krishna, and I thought I can make that also as a portion of my presentation today. So one of the qualities which Rupa Goswami mentions there is that how Lord Krishna is highly learned. And he specifically mentions that how the highly learned actually means two things. Now, please note, my dear friends, that this is also something interesting. Being highly learned does not only mean to know a lot of information or to be very, very knowledgeable. Actually, it also means to act morally. And interestingly, this is the definition of being highly learned as given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. He says that Lord Krishna is highly learned. Highly learned means two things, that possessing a tremendous amount of knowledge and also acting morally. And he gives a lot of examples to demonstrate this point, as we will see here. So, in the beginning, Lord Brahma and others are like clouds of evaporated water from the great ocean of Krishna. In other words, Brahma first received the Vedic education from Krishna as the clouds receive water from the ocean. That Vedic education or instruction, which was spoken by Brahma to the world, was then reposed upon the mountain of Sandipani Muni. Sandipani Muni's instructions to Krishna are like a reservoir of water on the mountain, which flows as a river and goes again to mix with the source, the ocean of Krishna. So Narad Muni actually gives this description of Krishna apparently taking knowledge from Sandipani Muni. So as you all know, that when Krishna appeared on this planet 5,000 years back, he actually joined the Gurukul of Sandipani Muni in Ujjain, Avantipur. Right, and that's where the famous story of Sudama being his friend in Gurukul and all that. So one may wonder that, oh, you are saying Krishna is a source of all knowledge, but here we see, just like any other ignorant boy like you and me going to school and then receiving education, getting knowledge, Krishna is also getting like that. So how do you say he is all knowledgeable? So Narad Muni specifically clarifies this. He compares Krishna receiving knowledge from Sandipani Muni to this water cycle, which you see at the bottom right of the screen. So actually, water is present in the ocean. Sun evaporates the water. It forms the clouds. And then the water downpours and flows as river into the ocean, back into the ocean. Similarly, Narad Muni is saying that Krishna is the original source of all knowledge. From Krishna, the water evaporated, went to Brahma. Brahma received that knowledge from Krishna. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kave. Adi Kavi, Brahma is Adi Kavi. So Brahma received that knowledge. Then through the disciplic succession, that knowledge came down from Brahma. It came all the way up till Sandipani Muni. And now Sandipani Muni is actually transmitting the same knowledge back to Krishna. So it's like, the water cycle, the river flowing back to the ocean. Very, very interesting comparison. And to, to increase our faith in, yes, how, this Krishna, and of course we know Krishna actually accepts Guru to set an example, that how no matter who you are, no matter how exalted you may be, you must accept a bona fide spiritual master. And Narad Muni interestingly compares this to a water cycle. And there is another interesting thing which is mentioned, that how apparently Lord Krishna is so they said Krishna does not require any education, but he gives a chance to the goddess of learning to serve him. So it's very interesting. So we know, Ekala Ishwara Krishna Ara Sabhabhritya. Krishna is the only master, and everybody else by constitution, the constitutional position of everybody else is to be a servant, right? Including, goddess Saraswati. So now how would Mother Saraswati serve Krishna? So this is an interesting pastime. When Krishna is receiving knowledge from Sandipani Muni, it's like he is giving a chance to Mother Saraswati to engage in his service. Very wonderful thing mentioned in Nectar of Devotion. And then, with regards to acting according to moral principles, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is clarified that how it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is ruling as a death personified to the thieves, as pleasing bliss to the pious, as the most beautiful Cupid to the young girls, and as the most munificent personality to the poor men. He is as refreshing as the full moon to his friends, and to his opponents, he is the annihilating fire generated from Lord Shiva. So Krishna is therefore the most perfect moralist in his reciprocal dealings with different kinds of persons. Whoever approaches Krishna in whichever way, whatever is one's relationship with Krishna, Krishna reciprocates with that person in the perfect way possible to reciprocate with that person. Be it a thief, and of course we know how Krishna is absolute. So even when Krishna is punishing a thief, he's giving the highest, he is offering the highest benediction upon that person. So on one hand, supremely knowledgeable, on the other hand, perfect in dealings with others, makes Lord Krishna highly learned. Then another incidence, another quality mentioned is how Krishna is a great linguist. So Krishna knows all languages. He knows all languages. An old woman in Vrindavan, present at the time of Krishna's pastimes, once stated in surprise, how wonderful it is that Krishna, who owns the hearts of all the young girls of Vrajbhumi, can nicely speak the language of Vrajbhumi with the gopis. So Krishna is speaking in the language of Vraj Bhasha with the gopis, while in Sanskrit he speaks with the demigods, Deva Bhasha. He is speaking with the demigods in Sanskrit. And in the language of the animals, he can even speak with the cows and the buffalo. Similarly, in the language of the Kashmir province and with the parrots and other birds, as well as in most common languages, Krishna is so expressive. Right? So there's another aspect of the knowledge of Krishna. He is the perfect linguist. He can speak to anybody in any language. And another quality is highly intelligent, and this is also interestingly clarified further in Bhakti Ras Samrit Sindhu, that how intelligence is not just about having sharp memory. Intelligence also means to have a fine discretion. So you may know many things, but if you are not able to apply your knowledge at the right time, then your knowledge is actually useless. For example, we see how Karna's guru was Parshuram, and Parshuram, so Karna lied to Parshuram, and when Lord Parshuram came to know of that lie, Parshuram cursed Karna that, I curse you that whenever you will need this knowledge the most, you will not be able to recollect this knowledge. You will not be able to apply this knowledge at the time of greatest need. On the other hand, you can contrast it with how Sandipani Muni had blessed Krishna and Sudama and Balram and all these, students when they were graduating in the convocation ceremony. Sandipani Muni had blessed Krishna that may this knowledge which I have taught you always remain relevant to you. You see, so it's very, very important to understand that as we are acquiring knowledge, it is equally, if not more important, to also be able to apply that knowledge, whenever needed. And this aspect of remembering the right knowledge at the right time actually comes by the blessings of great souls. So Krishna is highly intelligent not only because he has sharp memory, but also because he has fine discretion. In this regard, it is mentioned that how when he was studying in the school of Sandipani Muni at Ujjain, Avantipur, he showed such a sharp memory that by once taking instructions from the teacher, he immediately became perfect in any subject. That's actually recorded in history. Of course, we know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore, actually to say that he is all knowledgeable actually is only understating his Supreme Personality of God, because actually he is the source of all knowledge. I mean, there is nothing exists outside him. But we are trying to see that how even when he appeared on this planet, whenever, because he's God at all circumstances, even when he's a small baby, even when he's in this planet, on some other planet, wherever he is always exhibiting these 6 opulences in full, which is why we have to understand that how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when he was studying at the school of Sandipani Muni, he showed such a sharp memory that by once taking instructions from the teacher, he immediately became perfect in that subject, And as far as fine discretion is concerned, we all know this pastime of, how once Kalayavan had attacked Mathura. And Kalayavan was supposed to be, one of those outcast people who were considered untouchables. So it is advised that, in those times when the culture was so refined, that how even if a Kshatriya has to kill an untouchable, even for that he should not touch an untouchable. So Krishna's fine discretion was exhibited when he was fighting with this Kalayavan who had attacked the city of Mathura. According to Vedic rites, those who are untouchable are not to be touched by the Kshatriya kings, not even for killing. So please note, this untouchability is not, the so-called misunderstanding or misapplication of the caste system, wherein, we unnecessarily just on the basis of one's birth, we categorize somebody as untouchable. We are not talking about that here. This is something with respect to the lifestyle, with respect to the culture, with respect to the eating habits, with respect to, everything else. And that is why for the purity of the culture, it is important that certain do's and don'ts are followed by people around. Right? So from that perspective, these things are observed. So what did Krishna do? Krishna applied his intelligence, and his discretion, and very cleverly, very smartly, he ran away, And Kalayavan thought that, oh, Krishna is running out of fear from me. But as Achyut Mohan Prabhu also very wonderfully described how, in the case of Jarasandha also, Krishna ran away so many, he ran away the 18th time, and he became so famous as Ranachor. So Krishna is not worried about his reputation. Krishna, he would do whatever is the best possible thing to be done at that point in time. So at that point in time, Krishna understood it's not good for me to touch him. So let me just run away. And very smartly, Krishna, so Kalayavan was chasing Krishna, Krishna was running, Kalayavan was chasing, and no matter how fast you run, you can never catch Krishna. So Krishna entered a cave where Muchukunda was sleeping, and Kalayavan actually got, navigated to that cave through Krishna, and Krishna hid inside the cave. And he was just watching the show, and then Kalayavan entered inside. And I don't probably you may be knowing the story that when Kalayavan entered the cave, Muchukunda, so Krishna, he took his yellow cloth, the yellow garment which Krishna wears, the upper garment, and Krishna spread that upper garment on the over the body of the sleeping Muchukunda, King Muchukunda, over his body. And when Kalayavan came, running behind Krishna, searching for him, when Kalayavan entered that cave, and when he saw this sleeping person wearing this yellow upper garment which Krishna was wearing, Kalayavan thought that, oh, this must be Krishna, and now he is lying here, he is hiding from me. So then immediately he woke up, Muchukunda. And as soon as Muchukunda woke up and he saw this person, Kalayavan, standing, Muchukunda had got a blessing that whoever wakes him up from his sleep, he would be burnt into ashes. So that time immediately Kalayavan got burnt into ashes. So you see, Krishna, he is so intelligent that with one activity he can do many things. In fact, it is said that later, so when Muchukunda, when he saw Krishna, he said, oh my dear Lord, please give me a blessing that I can take your darshan. And then Lord Krishna blessed Muchukunda that in your next life you will become Pundalik. If you all know, in Maharashtra there is a place called Pandharpur, and there Rukmini Vitthal is very famous, the deities of Rukmini Vitthal. I mean, Rukmini is there a little bit, Vitthal is alone, Rukmini was a little angry, so therefore she is a little bit behind somewhere else, and there that pastime, is famous by this devotee by the name of Pundalik, and this Pundalik actually is the next life of King Muchukunda. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that Krishna, not only he has sharp memory, but he also has a fine discretion to do the right thing at the right time, by which not only one thing gets fulfilled, but many things get fulfilled. That is God. And as we know, at so many places it is mentioned that how Krishna is all knowing, he is all cognizant. Abhigya, the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, begins by saying that how Krishna is Abhigya and Swarat and so on. 7 characteristics of absolute truth are mentioned there. So please note, my dear friends, Krishna is not just God, because the moment you say God, you are talking about the generative, the operative, and the destructive potency of the God, of God. But Krishna is actually more than God. Krishna is absolute truth. When you say absolute truth, Srila Prabhupada clarifies in the purport that the moment you say absolute truth, you are saying everything, including all the energies, all the expansions, all the avatars, all the incarnations, everything, material energy, spiritual energy, everything taken together is absolute truth. And Krishna is that absolute truth. Krishna is not just God. He is not just the generator and the operator and the destroyer of this creation. He is much more. He is the all-encompassing, all that exists. Krishna is all that exists, right? And this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam talks about the 7 characteristics of this absolute truth. And one of those characteristics is that how Krishna is Abhigya. Abhigya means one who knows everything. So any person who can understand the feelings of all persons and all incidents in all places at all times is called all cognizant. Now, this is something completely beyond our comprehension, right? You can know something for some time at some place, for some duration. But Lord Krishna, God, is such a person who can understand the feelings. Feelings is something which is even more internal. Nobody other than Lord Krishna can understand. I in this connection, I recollect one very touching incidents in my own life. I do not know how authorized it is, but when we were young, there used to be this Mahabharat serial telecasted, made by B.R. Chopra, and in that there was this one particular episode wherein Bhishma Dev, he was shot by so many arrows, and he was lying on the bed of arrows. And one by one everybody is coming and offering their obeisances and their respects to Bhishma Dev. And then finally Lord Krishna comes in front of Bhishma Dev, and Bhishma says, and we all know how Bhishma's life, it was so dedicated to Lord Krishna, a life of devotion, in spite of accepting all inconveniences personally. If you see, apparently Bhishma's life was a failure, right? But he lived that role for the pleasure of Krishna. Krishna wanted him to teach some lessons through him. Krishna wanted to teach some lessons to us through him, and therefore, as a humble servant of Krishna, he played that part. In spite of going through so many personal inconveniences, in spite of going through so many dharma sankat in life, in spite of being misunderstood, in spite of having to fight against the Pandavas who were so dear to him, on the side of Kauravas and all that. So when Krishna, one by one, people were offering respects and they were going, Bhishma was lying on the arrow of beds, and Lord Krishna comes and he also is offering respects to Bhishma. And in that particular, the way B.R. Chopra had depicted it in that serial, I very graphically remember that Lord Bhishma says that, तुम्हारे सिवा कौन समझ सकता है, मेरे अंदर क्या चल रहा है, like that, and as such, there is nothing, we don't need to worry about how authorized that was or how unauthorized that was, because actually this is indeed a fact, right? That Bhishma Dev, it's quite natural for Bhishma to say something like this to Krishna, that who can understand, what I have gone through other than you, other than you, who can understand? And then Lord Krishna replies, he says, तो क्या मेरा समझना काफी नहीं है, like that he says, that how there are sometimes so many things going on in our lives, you may go through, so right now you all are students, and you all are like almost all on yourselves, right? But as you enter some ashram, be it brahmachari ashram or be it grihastha ashram, when we deal with people around very closely, when we live with people, when we come to the world of people, and when we live with them closely, there are so many ups and downs which happen in our lives. There are so many things which go on. Sometimes we may want to do something good for somebody, but that person may misunderstand, and then that can open up a can of worms. Life is so complex at times, when it comes to misunderstandings, when it comes to dealing with people. You may be good, or you may have done some sacrifices for somebody. You may have done lot of things for somebody, but that somebody may be misunderstanding you. I mean, so many things are there, but one thing is for sure, that Lord Krishna, he actually understands everything precisely. Any person who can understand the feelings of all persons and incidents in all places at all times is called all cognizant. One example of this is also seen in Mahabharata, that how when Duryodhan, when the Pandavas were in the forest, Duryodhan, he was not happy. Whether wherever the Pandavas are, one thing is for sure, Duryodhan will not be happy, even if Duryodhan was all the time in the palace. uh, so Duryodhan wanted to make sure that the Pandavas are cursed by Durvasa Muni. So he plotted, he requested Durvasa Muni to go and visit Pandavas with his 10,000 disciples, and he knew Pandavas will not be able to serve them, because Pandavas were just 5 of them, and this 10,000 disciples, Durvasa Muni, how will Pandavas serve? And for a grahastha, for a householder to not be able to serve a saintly person when he comes at your place is a big, blunder, and Durvasa Muni is famous for giving curses. And Duryodhan's plan was that way Durvasa Muni will be displeased, Durvasa Muni will give the curse, and Duryodhan will be happy, so 1-0, Duryodhan will get 1 point, Pandavas will not get any point, like that. So then Krishna, because he is all cognizant, he understood what's going on, and then he came to the Pandavas, and then he asked Draupadi, Draupadi, I mean, they were very distressed that, what to do, we have all eaten, and now we can't serve Durvasa Muni, because Draupadi had this Akshay Patra, right? And then the Akshay Patra had this benediction that it can serve any number of people. But the only condition was that after Draupadi finishes eating, then this Akshay Patra was done for the day. Akshay Patra will not be able to serve anybody else after Draupadi was done eating. And on this particular occasion, Draupadi was also done eating. And then, so, the Pandavas were in great dilemma. How, there are, Durvasa Muni and 10,000 disciples waiting, and on the other hand, Akshapatra is over, Draupadi has eaten, what to do? So Krishna, because he understands everybody's feelings at all times, Krishna appeared on that scene, and Krishna asked Draupadi to show that, Akshapatra. And Krishna saw that, say, hey, there is one grain, one grain of rice was still sticking, and Krishna took that and fed it into his mouth, and we all know what happened after that. As soon as Krishna took that grain of rice, Krishna was satisfied, and as soon as Krishna is satisfied, Yashmin Tushtam Jagat Tushtam, the whole world is satisfied. And then so Durvasa Muni and the 10,000 disciples who were hungry 1 minute back, very hungry, impatient, getting to get the food, they had gone to river to take bath before they honor prasad, so they 1 minute back they were so hungry, but as soon as Krishna took that rice, they became so completely full that they said, oh, they started belching and burping, and then they said, oh no, now we can't eat anymore. Thank you, Pandavas, thank you very much. We all will go, we'll come some other time. So you see, so how Krishna is all cognizant, and of course we know so many things. So now, in whatever, very quickly in 5 minutes, I'll try to wrap up with one, some important application points from this, because one thing is Krishna is all knowledgeable, but what about us? What are we supposed to do? So once I came across this very interesting, attribute of real wealth, right? Certainly, I'm sure all of us also want to become wealthy in our lives. So what is real wealth? Real wealth is that which can never be stolen. Real wealth has some characteristics. Okay, so real wealth, one characteristic is that which cannot be stolen, which cannot be taxed by the government, that which cannot cause dispute among brothers, and that which doesn't become a burden, and that which the more you spend, the more you get, right? And I'm sure by now you all have guessed that what is this real wealth? Knowledge is the real wealth, because knowledge can never be stolen, knowledge cannot be taxed by the government, knowledge cannot cause dispute among brothers. In fact, knowledge can actually solve disputes among brothers. Knowledge doesn't become a burden, and the knowledge is something, the more you share with others, the more you get, right? So real wealth is knowledge. And now, what is real knowledge? Real knowledge does not mean to become a donkey carrying huge loads of information on our shoulders, on our back. That's not what is real knowledge, that you become a donkey carrying huge burden of information. Real knowledge means to be able to distinguish between truth and illusion. That is real knowledge, right? Therefore, it is said, knowledge means to know Krishna. Knowledge means to know Krishna, success means to please Krishna, right? I'm so happy that all of you are attending this wonderful online Utkarsh camp, because you have understood that while we are doing everything else in our life, it's not that Krishna consciousness means that we have to leave whatever else you are doing. You all are engineering students, you all have bright future in front of you, you all have bright career in front of you. You should pass out, you should graduate with flying colors, and at the same time, we should have the North Star, the direction, the compass set right, so that we go in the right direction. From that perspective, we should understand knowledge means to know Krishna, and success means to please Krishna. So as Krishna says himself, Vedeshcha sarver aham eva vedyo vedant krit ved eva chaham, right? So Krishna says that of all the Vedas, I am to be known, because Krishna is the source of all knowledge. Krishna is the essence of all knowledge. Krishna is the best of all knowledge. He is the source, he is the essence, and he is the best of all knowledge. And that's why Krishna also says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tektva deham punarjanma neti mami. So Arjuna. So one who understands me in truth, he will not take birth again. Now one may say that, so knowledge means to know Krishna. That means I should, forget about every other kind of knowledge. That's one wrong understanding. The other wrong understanding is, the people earlier, in Vedic culture, people were only worried about Krishna. They were not worried about, they were jokers, they were fools, they were good for nothing, they could do nothing in life. That's also wrong. We have to understand, in fact, the more you get into science, the more you get into some, like I'm doing PhD, right? I mean, PhD is like the topmost degree you can have. Of course, postdoctorate is there, but in postdoctorate studies are not there much. It's just like, a training before, some other kind of role. So, the deeper you go, the more you realize that how Indians have a deep impact on this overall field of science, dating back to our Vedic culture. So it's not that people, in the name of Krishna, or, because they knew that knowledge means to know Krishna, that means they were only worried about spiritual knowledge. Not at all. Indians, I mean, our Vedic culture, our great saints, our glorious ancestors, they excelled in every field of knowledge. For example, you see here, I'm just giving some glimpses, Pythagoras theorem, the distance between earth and sun, the value of pi. And I mean, do you see here? So because you set the North Star right, because you set your goal as Krishna, then everything else which you do becomes so wonderful and it becomes excellent. That is what is character, competence, and devotion. People like Arjun, people like Yudhishthir, people like Dhruv Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, these people, they were not that, okay, Krishna, but everything else, don't ask me, it's all, gone case. No, because everything is coming from Krishna. Krishna is the source of all knowledge, both material knowledge as well as spiritual knowledge. So if we really understand the essence, and if we really have the right North Star set as Krishna, then we will actually also excel in all other fields of knowledge as well, as we see happening, in our great sages and rishis of the past, right? So therefore, it's so important to know that how real knowledge is MSC, matter, spirit, and controller. That means real knowledge means to know matter, it means to know spirit, and it also means to know the controller of both. So that's why if one has this full understanding, then one actually will be able to do justice to this opulence of knowledge of Lord Krishna. And then what will happen as a result of that? We will be led from darkness to light. That's a symptom of real knowledge, that we will be able to come out of this bondage of ignorance, and become free. So I would also want to end on this note of happy Independence Day. Today is 15th August, so I wish a very, very wonderful 75th Independence Day, and this knowledge has a very interesting connection to independence, because ignorance binds us. Ignorance, is like bondage. So cut the bondage of ignorance by the sword of knowledge. So we should become really free by getting the real knowledge, which means to know Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for so wonderfully explaining to all of us the opulence of knowledge by so many different angles. Let us all thank Prabhuji by loudly chanting one time, Haribol! Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So now we have with us a very senior speaker, and let me introduce to all of you who will be speaking on the opulence of renunciation. So let me share my screen. So we have with us His Grace Acharya Ratna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So let me introduce Prabhuji's qualifications with all of you. Prabhuji is currently serving as the chairman of ISKCON Newtown Develop Committee, a member of IIAC, ISKCON's advisory board, and Prabhuji is a spiritual counselor for many youths. And Prabhuji did his computer engineering from Government College of Engineering, Pune. Worked as a Tata Research Development Design Center and TCS. Since childhood and academically, he was one of the top ranking students in school and college. He served as a chairman of Voice Governing Body, which is specialized youth service wing of ISKCON Pune, instrumental in teaching Vedic wisdom to students of many IITs and NITs in India, like IIT Kharagpur, IIT Dhanbad, NIT Jamshedpur, NIT Rourkela, Haldia Institute of Technology, and institutes in Bangalore and Hyderabad. So let us heartily welcome amongst us His Grace Acharya Ratna Prabhuji. So let us welcome Prabhuji by loudly chanting one time, Haribo! Yes, Prabhuji, over to you.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Ji Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. And whether students are able to speak something or they are muted forever?
No, they can unmute Prabhuji. If they like, they can unmute.
Okay.
Or they can send chat to me also.
Okay.
Yes.
Jai. I am feeling so honored and happy to be here in Utkarsh camp. All the boys happy to participate in Utkarsh camp?
Yes, Prabhuji, very much.
I want to hear from boys.
So please raise your hand. How many of you are happy? Prabhuji is asking for with our Utkarsha and Radhesham Prabhu's presentations. Yes, Prabhuji, many of them are raising.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
Yes, Prabhuji, we are very happy to joining the Utkarsha camp, and know about Krishna consciousness, and we are very interested now.
Amazing. Wonderful.
By the mercy of Krishna, we can associate with the devotees and learn the knowledge of Krishna, spirit, and matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Krishna
Happy to
Vrindavan,
hear.
we are very fortunate to have these classes by the Radhesham Gurudev.
Amazing, amazing, amazing.
We are so
Truly
honored to be
fortunate.
here, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. So today we are discussing on six opulence of Krishna, and some things I may speak you may already have heard, but still I will repeat. One time, one devotee, he was doing Harinam Sankirtan in one of the West Virginia universities, one of the universities in West Virginia. So when he was chanting Hare Krishna, some Christian evangelist came and he thought, what is this Hindu guy doing in American University? And he's chanting Hare Krishna. So immediately he came and he was trying to loudly shout and yell that anybody who doesn't surrender to Jesus, he's a devil and he's doomed in life. And he was trying to, very aggressively speak that how everybody should surrender to his God. This devotee, after hearing him shout and yell, generally people shout and yell. Uh, when mouth is open, ears are closed. You can do one thing at a time. Either you can speak or you can hear. So when he saw that the person is yelling, devotee just quietly heard. But now, how long can one yell? So after some time, that person stopped. So then this devotee asked that, my dear sir, you are saying I should uh, surrender to your God. I should become devotee of your God. So can you tell me something about your God? He said, yes, why not? Please ask. He said, please tell me, is your God most intelligent person in the world? So that Christian evangelist said, yes, my God is the most intelligent person in the world. He knows past, present, future, he knows everything, he's all knowing. So then later on, devotee asked, is your God most beautiful person in the world? He said, yes, my God is most beautiful person in the world. Rather, all beauty is coming from him. He's source of all beauty. Then he asked, is your God most powerful person in the world? He said, yes, my Lord is most powerful person. He's source of all power. Nobody is equal to him or greater than him in strength. Then he asked, is your God most famous person in the world? He said, yes, my God is most famous person in the world. All of the world, he is being honored and served and respected. Then he asked, is your God most beautiful person in the world? He said, yes, my God is most beautiful person in the world. And then he asked, is your God most renounced person in the world? Detached person in the world? He said, yes, my God possesses everything, but yet he is not attached to anything of this world. So it's most renounced. Then this devotee said, just say, in this world we see anybody having any of these qualities becomes attractive person. Person who is intelligent, people get attracted to him. Like I see here, Vyasajayaj Prabhu. I know him when he was in IIT Kharagpur. He was one of the toppers. He was gold medalist. He was topper in his computer department IIT Kharagpur. So many people were attracted to him. And he could bring so many people in Krishna consciousness. So when one is intelligent, people get attracted to him. If one is beautiful, people get attracted to him. If one is powerful, people get attracted to him. So these are various opulences. If anybody has any of these opulence, people get attracted to him. But in this world, we see that nobody possesses all these six opulence all the time simultaneously and fullest extent. So only God possesses all the six qualities all the time simultaneously and to fullest extent. So this devotee asks that Christian evangelist, does your God have all these qualities all the time simultaneously and fullest extent? He said, yes, my God has all these qualities all the time simultaneously and to fullest extent. Then he said in Sanskrit, so anybody who's having all these qualities all the time simultaneously, he's all attractive. And in Sanskrit, all attractive means Krishna. Sarva akarshiti iti Krishna. So Krishna is not some just a Hindu god's name. So he said it's a Sanskrit name, and if you translate it in English, Krishna means Sarva Akarshiti iti Krishna, one who attracts everyone. So this devotee asks Christian evangelist, so is your God Krishna all attractive? So this Christian evangelist had already said yes to everything, and he deeply thought, is my God Krishna? Krishna means all attractive. All attractive means one who has all this opulence all the time simultaneously and to fullest extent. Then he realized that if my God is not Krishna, then what kind of God is he? God has to be Krishna, all attractive. Then only he can be called God. So then finally he said, yes, my God is Krishna. Because if God is not Krishna, if God is not all attractive, what kind of God is he? So when we are talking about Krishna consciousness, we are not talking about some sectarian religion. We are not talking about some imaginary God or some sectarian God. We are talking of one God, supreme God. One God has many names, and if you want to give one name to God which encompasses all his qualities, that is Krishna. So as you have been hearing about various opulence of Krishna, so I heard that you heard about 5 opulences, and I was asked to speak about the 6th opulence, that is opulence of renunciation. So renunciation is also opulence. We see people get attracted to sadhus. Sadhus don't have bank balance. Sadhus don't have properties and all these things. And so why are people attracted to them? Also, because they have this quality of renunciation. They have given up uh, desire to enjoy this material world. They have given up this mentality of proprietorship, controlship, and enjoyership, and therefore people get attracted to them also. Today is Independence Day. So as Vyasacharya was saying just now, I wish you a happy Independence Day. So, so this our land, the land which we live in, is called Bharat Varsha, and this Bharat Varsha, uh, this land got named Bharat from name of a king called Bharat Maharaj. In Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, there is description of Bharat Maharaj, how he ruled entire planet Earth, how he was eldest son of Rishabhadev, who is incarnation of God, and how this Bharat Maharaj was so young, so beautiful, so handsome, so powerful, so intelligent, so knowledgeable, so much loved by all citizens. So he had all the opulences, and in prime of youth, he left all that and went to forest to serve Krishna, to meditate on Krishna, to develop his love for Krishna. So there Srimad Bhagavatam explains, he left all the kingdom as if one passes to, like morning we go to clear the stomach, we pass to, we don't even look back at that things. Similarly, Bharat Maharaj left his unrivaled kingdom, left his huge treasury, he left his near and dear ones, he left everything as if one passes to. And he left it not out of foolishness, but to achieve the topmost goal of life, love for Krishna. So when anybody hears about it, one gets captivated. Right? All people are mad to achieve unrivaled kingdom like him, but he had all unrivaled kingdom. He gave it up. How did he give it? Why did he give it? Was he fool? No, he was very intelligent man. So always people give something lower to achieve something higher. So Bharat Maharaj, because he knew the topmost goal of life is to have love for Krishna, for sake of that he gave materialistic things. So because he gave up materialistic things, he is considered very renounced, and his many people get attracted to him. And it is said, Bharata Bhumite Hoile Janmajar, Janma Sartak Kari Kar. So those who have taken birth in the land of Bharat, they should make their life perfect, and they should help others perfect their lives. That would be actually a real way to celebrate independence. Bharat means Bhaskar. Bharat means those who are engaged in cultivation of knowledge. So especially Indians are meant to cultivate knowledge, and especially spiritual knowledge, and make their life perfect and help others perfect their lives. And for sake of helping others, sometimes everybody may renounce material things. Like our Goswamis, like Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, they have renounced so many things so that they can serve Krishna and serve the society. And anybody who who renounces material pleasures, who renounces material prestige, he becomes very attractive. We see Haridas Thakur, such a beautiful prostitute came, Lakshya Hira, and she proposed him in middle of night. But Haridas Thakur was not attracted to her. So he was very renounced. He was not attached to even enjoying opposite sex. So he is very much glorified. So anybody who is detached, one who is able to give desire to enjoy, people become attracted to him. And devotees have this quality of renunciation because they serve Krishna. Anybody whom you worship and serve, you get the quality of that person. So how devotees are able to renounce so many things? Uh, uh, they are able to renounce the desire to enjoy. They are able to renounce desire for prestige, name, and glory. They are able to renounce opposite sex, obsession, all these things. Why? Because of serving Krishna. By serving Krishna, they get quality of Krishna. And so Krishna has this quality. Krishna is the supreme renuncier. He has this quality of renunciation. Now, ordinary people, we may say, I renounce something. But actually, in one sense, what we have to renounce. Because we don't possess anything, nothing belongs to us. What can we renounce? Actually, in this world, everybody is just a caretaker, nobody is a proprietor. If I say, oh, I renounce America, it doesn't make any sense because America doesn't belong to me. If I say I renounce America, it may be a big joke. Or if I say I renounce moon planet, it is a big joke because that planet doesn't belong to me. What can I renounce? So similarly, sometimes people, we talk about renunciation on material plane, but actually that renunciation of actually is not of much value because in originally we don't possess anything. Nothing belongs to us. Isha Vasam Idam Sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna. And when Krishna renounces something, that is actually a great thing. For us, our renunciation is so-called renunciation because originally we don't possess anything. We are just a caretaker. Everything belongs to Krishna. So Krishna is proprietor of everything, but still Krishna is not attached to anything. That is his great quality. And Krishna is ready to give up anything and everything out of love for his devotees. So Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal and for sake of devotees. And similarly, devotees also they are ready to renounce anything for pleasure of Krishna. Like earlier we saw names of Bharat Maharaj, Goswamis, Haridas Thakur. They are able to pronounce everything because of their love for Krishna. To please Krishna. And Krishna possesses this quality of renunciation to highest degree. Krishna is source of everything. Krishna is best of everything. Krishna is essence. So Krishna is source of this quality of renunciation also. And Krishna is the best renunciate. And essence of renunciation is actually to love Krishna. And Krishna renounces out of his love for his devotees. So we see Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is all powerful. But we see when in Mathura we see when Krishna is attacked by Jarasandha and company from one side and is attacked by Kalayvana from other side. He could fight both of them and defeat them. But that time he received letter from Rukmini. Krishna had defeated Jarasandha 17 times earlier. And 18th time Jarasandha attacked. That time, same time, Kalayvana attacked Mathura. At the same time, Krishna received letter from Rukmini. So Krishna had choice whether to fight with Jarasandha, fight with Kalayvan, or respond to the call of Rukmini. For king. It's very prestigious. No Kshatriya will leave battlefield. If Kshatriya leaves battlefield, runs away from battlefield, uh, everybody will spit at him. So Krishna being in Dwarka playing role of Kshatriya, uh, naturally it was expected that he would fight Jarasandha and Kali. But for Krishna, more than the prestige of Kshatriya, call of his devotee was important. So immediately he left the battlefield and he just went away, and he didn't take any weapons also. And we see how Kalayana started chasing him, and Krishna just walked, and Kalayana was running, and we know that story how later on Krishna went to the cave, and then we saw there was one person lying, and that was Mushkunda, and how this Kalayana came and thought Krishna is lying, and he just kicked, and how Mushkunda burned this Kalayana. And later on we see how Jarasandha attacked. He was running, and how Krishna ran from there. So we see basically Krishna ran away from battlefield. Jarasandha thought that, oh, Krishna is afraid of me, and therefore he ran away. So for a Kshatriya to run away from battlefield is considered very inglorious. But we see Krishna did not care for his prestige. Krishna ran away from battlefield out of his love for his devotee. And we see whatever Krishna does, because he's Supreme Lord, whatever he does is glorious. And we see in Gujarat, there is Ranchhodrai temple, and people all the world come there to worship Ranchhodrai, Krishna. If ordinary Kshatriya run away from battlefield, nobody will respect him. But when Krishna is running away from battlefield, that is transcendental. That is his supreme quality of renunciation, and therefore he is glorified for that quality of renouncing the battlefield out of love for his. Similarly, we see anybody breaks the promise, he is not considered a proper gentleman. Any gentleman means he has to live with integrity. Integrity means he has to live by what he speaks. He has to keep his promises. And we see in the beginning of battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna took a vow, I will not lift weapon. But we see that during the battlefield of Kurukshetra, especially when Bhishma was becoming very aggressive and he was killing so many people, warriors on Pandava side, and especially when he took a vow that I will kill all the Pandavas in one day. That time we see how Krishna took a weapon because he took a weapon to protect Bhishma's vow. It's a long story. I'm just cutting short it. We see how when Duryodhana was very upset, he was trying to trigger Bhishma, and then Bhishma took a vow that next day I will kill all the Pandavas with his 5 arrows, and he chanted and poured 5 arrows. And Duryodhana became very happy, and immediately he told Bhishma that please give me these 5 arrows, I will protect it, and tomorrow I will give these 5 arrows in battlefield so that it can kill Pandavas with these 5 arrows. And we see that night Krishna came with Arjuna, and Krishna told Arjuna that you should take these 5 arrows from Duryodhana. And he told that one time how you had saved Duryodhana from Chitrath, Gandharva, and Duryodhana promised that he will give you benediction. That time you had said you will ask later. So this is good time. Now you can ask. So Arjun went with Krishna, and then Arjun asked this Duryodhana 5 arrows, and then Duryodhana gave. And when this news came to Bhishma, Bhishma became very, agitated. He said, "Oh, I had taken vow, and Krishna has taken away this 5 arrows." And still he said, "I'm going to fight so hard that these Pandavas will be saved only if Krishna breaks his promise. Nobody can save Pandavas unless Krishna lifts the weapon." So then next day we see Bhishma fought so terribly, so powerfully, and he was overpowering everybody. And that time, you see, Arjuna was also not fighting, apparently doing his greatest this thing. And that time, Krishna was telling him how he should fight and kill Bhishma. And that time, we see when Arjuna was getting overpowered, that time Krishna himself lifted the weapon. And when Krishna lifted the weapon, Bhishma became so happy. Immediately Bhishma dropped down his weapon. So first time in my life when I saw that picture, I had gone to youth center and there was this picture, Krishna running towards uh, Bhishma with the chakra in his hand, and Arjuna catching his feet and trying to stop Krishna, and Bhishma uh, giving away his weapons and just very joyfully looking at Krishna. And below it was written, Krishna pleases Bhishma. And I was wondering, how is Krishna pleasing Bhishma? So it may be that Krishna is pleasing Arjuna because Krishna is trying to save Arjuna. But then later on I came to know, no, actually it is Krishna is pleasing Bhishma only. Actually, Krishna broke the vow, his own vow, to protect Bhishma's vow. Bhishma is known for his vow. As a young boy, he took a vow that I will not marry, and whole life he did not marry. And that's how when he took that vow, he got named Bhishma. Bhishma means very terrible vow. So Bhishma took a terrible vow and he followed. So Bhishma was man of principles and man of promises. Whatever promise he took, he fulfilled. Now he had taken a promise that I will kill Pandavas, and only way they will be protected if Krishna breaks his vow. So we see Krishna broke his vow and protected Bhishma's vow. So Bhishma is a great devotee, uh, and to please Bhishma, to protect Bhishma's vow, Krishna broke his vow. That is actually a great sign of renunciation. Krishna is not bothered what will whole world say to me. So for Krishna, devotees are more important. And for sake of protecting Bhishma's vow, Krishna broke his own promise. And that is a sign of Krishna's renunciation. Similarly, we see when Rasa Yajna was arranged by Yudhishthira Maharaj, all the kings of the world for Rasa Yajna. And everybody got different services. We see Duryodhana service was to give, Bhima's service was to cook prasad for all the guests. So different people had different service. Do you know what was the service of Krishna? The Supreme Person of Godhead Krishna. He took the service of washing feet of all the guests. Imagine somebody, the greatest of great person. Will he wash anybody's feet? Imagine we are in a festival. Everybody wants some good service. But we see Krishna, though he is Supreme Lord, he took the service of washing feet of everybody. That is considered lowest service. But Krishna was ready to take the lowest position in order to honor and respect all the guests coming to the yajna. So Krishna has no ego problem. He has no false ego. He loves devotees and he is very compassionate to everybody. And out of love for Pandavas, he was ready to take even the lowest of low position. And Krishna travels, few of his near and dear ones, his dear devotees of Raja, Vrindavan, and come to Mathura. So he loved Rajavasis very much, but he gave up his loved ones just for sake of showing compassion to all people of the world by killing Kamsa, thus reducing the burden of earth. So this is Krishna's renunciation. He loves his devotees, but for sake of compassion, he is ready to give up his devotees also. And you see, same Krishna in age of Kali comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see he was a great scholar, great Pandit, Nimai Pandit, and he had a young, beautiful wife, Vishnu Priya, and we see he had a old mother, Sachimata, and he had very loving associates like Nityananda, Srivas Thakur, Acharya, Mukunda, Gadadhar, Pandit, so many. Sankirtan movement was growing very nicely, but there were some envious people, so they were not accepting Chaitanya. So, in order to deliver those envious people, Mayavadis, impersonalists, scholars, Panditas, all envious people, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave up. He took sannyas. He gave up his beautiful wife, very chaste, loving wife, and very loving mother. So, this is Lord, in order to show compassion to conditioned souls, even to show compassion to those who hate him, he is ready to go to the extent of giving up his near and dear ones also. You see, Supreme Lord manifests this quality of renunciation, and this is very attractive. So he's renouncing everything for sake of devotees, and we see he is sometimes to follow conditions. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So anybody has any comments, any questions, any discussions? Okay,
Hare
very
Krishna.
much.
So we would like to thank Prabhuji for so wonderfully explaining to all of us the aspect of renunciation, how Lord is, although he's having so many opulences, but this opulence of renunciation also is there in the Lord, and through many pastimes, Prabhuji, you explained to all of us. Let us thank Prabhuji by loudly chanting one time, Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
So for all of you, please wait for 1 minute as I'll be sharing with all of you the winners of the last week awards. So here is the presentation for them. Okay, so we have Haridas Thakur Award. So Haridas Thakur Award, which is the award for the highest number of rounds in the past week. So it goes to, the third prize goes to Yuvraj Singh from IIT. Congratulations, Yuvraj, IIT BHU. And Yuvraj chanted 182 rounds. Haribo. Then second rank is Vaibhav Kumar Gupta from IET, 201 rounds in 1 week. Haribo. And the winner is Varun from IYF Warangal, 256 rounds in 1 week. Haribo. So very amazing, wonderful. You must be chanting more than 20 rounds, I think. So very nice, Varun, for participating so enthusiastically and being a winner over here. Now let us see the Yudhishthir Award. Who has got the Yudhishthir Award? The third prize for the sadhana score goes to Vaibhav Kumar Gupta from IIT Lucknow. Has scored 98.81%. Haribo. And the second prize goes to Nitish Kumar from IIT BHU and Mohit Kumar Meena from IIT BHU. We have a tie over here, 99.05%. Haribo. And the winner is 100%. Ankur from AITH, Kanpur. Kamal Kishore Upadhyay from IIT BHU, Varanasi connected. Nikhil Singh from REC Bijnor. Haribol. So very nice, very nice. All of you very wonderfully did your sadhana course the past week. And now let us see the Arjuna Award. The second topper is, there are so many of them. Nitesh Yadav from IET, Kamal Kishore Upadhyay from IIT BHU, Randeria from Juhu, Tahilkar from Juhu, Prabhat Kumar from NIT Kanpur. Okay, so very nice, all of you. Haribo. And the winner of this award, Arjuna Award, the quiz winner is Aman Yadav from IIT Lucknow. Haribo. So I would like to thank all of you for so wonderfully participating in our awards, in our quiz. And now I would like to thank all our speakers who today explained. Achyut Mohan Prabhuji explained about fame very wonderfully through so many pastimes. And then our Vyasacharya Prabhuji explained about the knowledge. And finally, Acharya Ratna Prabhuji explained about the renewing out their time from